Are high-profile scam games about to become the new trend? The Day Before is a scary example of what's now possible with modern game engines and overflowing asset stores. A small group of devs are now able to fake game trailers, plagiarize marketing from high-profile games and movies, and release a product just playable enough to get you past the refund time limit on Steam so that they can get away with as much cash as possible. And literally while recording this voiceover, they made a statement on Twitter saying that they are closing the studio because unfortunately The Day Before has failed financially and they lack the funds to continue. / they want to run away with the money and avoid all potential lawsuits as best as possible. Let's educate ourselves on asset flip games because honestly I think gamers are in store for a lot more Day Before like projects. So there's a lot to unpack here, and going over every single detail of The Day Before just wouldn't be worth the time, so here's the Cliff Notes version. The Day Before was revealed back in 2021 with a trailer that had a lot of people excited. Marketed as an open-world MMO survival shooter that honestly looked a lot like The Division, but with zombies, players were excited for a DayZ meets The Division type experience. And in fact, it looks so much like The Division and other games that people pointed out how the marketing shots were copied pretty much directly from The Division, and Call of Duty, and the logo from The Last of Us, and the vehicle shots were from SnowRunner, and frankly, a lot more. Yet, even with a completely unproven game that was already going down the sketchy marketing path, they somehow got featured by Nvidia's main channel showing the power of RTX in The Day Before. And to be honest, that in itself probably lent a lot of credibility to the game being real. I mean, if Nvidia's gonna show it off, they must have done their research, right? Well, The Day Before finally launched just a few days ago, and it is real. It's just not the game it was advertised to be, like even in the slightest. And it's buggy.
Prox chat is apparently coming. Oh, fuck, he just bursted out of the car. Whoa, what the fuck?
And missing just about all the features you would expect to be in any game, let alone what was advertised for this game. The game simply is a scam, but it's still pretending not to be, hiding behind its early access tag, and frankly, there are some people still defending it. And looking at the game, the world design pretty much just copies better looking games like The Division, using a ton of high-end assets and Unreal Engine 5 to make it look decent, which in itself would be fine. It's honestly one of the more exciting things about modern gaming tech is the ability to start delivering AAA level visuals with a small indie team. Plus, using pre-made assets isn't necessarily a bad thing. There's a lot of great games out there that use a lot of these assets but deliver a fantastic experience with them. However, what The Day Before has done feels like it might be the beginning of a new wave of high-profile asset flip titles. Projects that sink just enough time and money into the promotional material and early gameplay to get you playing past the refund time limit on Steam, which is 2 hours by the way. Then they promise and maybe even deliver a tiny amount of updates to pretend like there's a future to the game, and then they run away with the cash, citing things like review bombs and lack of support or something like that to justify their move. Now, for those of you who are not quite caught up on the whole asset flip thing, an asset flip game generally speaking means a quick, inexpensive game made through buying assets from the Unity or Unreal store, throwing them together in an uninspired, often copycat game design, usually built around whatever's trending at the time and hoping that it'll get enough coverage to pull in some sales before people realize that it's absolute garbage. However, those games are usually low profile enough to only gain traction in smaller communities. Yet, with The Day Before, it seems like the rest of the world are about to get a real taste of this sleazy market as game engines like Unreal Engine 5 let you import tons and tons of low-cost, if not free assets. New features like Nana and Lumen Tech now let you load in high-quality, high-res assets into the game with little to no optimization needed, and the engine will now optimize the geometry for you to hit the desired poly counts on screen. Frankly, it's revolutionary and awesome tech as it opens up the dev process process to be way faster and more adaptable. Now even movie-level VFX assets can be imported into video games with minimal tweaking, allowing devs to access an abundance of high-quality world-building tools. And even further than that, Unity and Unreal have first-person shooter templates already set up as a starting point for game projects and relatively easy ways to download most of the systems and features that you might need, such as looting and inventory systems. You can literally buy looter-shooter bundles that get you most of the way towards having a playable game without needing to do all of the legwork to get there. And in fact, a Reddit user who is very familiar with the asset store listed out all of the assets that the day before used, and it is a long list. I'm not even sure they made any original assets for the actual game world. And some of the assets used even indicate that the alleged development time was way shorter than expected, considering how long the assets were even available for purchase. Now beyond that, the trailers and in-game voiceovers all seem to be using AI voiceover work, and even the lines from the AI appear to be written out by something like ChatGPT with awkward word choices at times.
Great. Maybe I can sell my junk there and get myself a better rifle.
Let's find some fuel and go.
In the Survivor Colony, you can sell and buy any items, as well as cooperate with other players.
But first, you will create your unique character. Select a personality, choose a gender, and customize every detail.
Again, it's just good enough to perhaps fool some people into thinking that they're about to play a better quality game, or a better game is in the works and this is just placeholder. But to anyone that understands the tools and talent at work here, their entire game is basically a facade, something built to look better and deeper than it is or was ever intended to be. Because to make this game right, the effort and resources needed would be massive, like The Division level massive. You can't make an open world MMO Division style game without those same resources backing the project. Now, to give Fantastic, the developers, some credit, though I really shouldn't, it does take work to put all of this stuff together. You can't just buy a lot of assets and feature packs and plug them in and get a working game. Dev work clearly was done here, but that's about all the credit they deserve. In fact, there's a game developer slash content creator, Crimson Dev, who is jokingly remaking his own version of The Day Before and posting his progress on Twitter to show how relatively simple it is. He's doing it solo and about 30 days into the project, and has already created many of the game's basic mechanics while actually improving upon them. And again, while it shows that creating this project isn't necessarily a no-effort task, it's a much lower effort than I think most people realize. You can make something that looks like The Division at a glance, and especially for trailer purposes, but the reality is that the game is bare bones AF and would need likely years and a much larger dev team to even come close to the original promises of the trailer. Honestly, they very much run the risk of a lawsuit, or at the very least being taken down from Steam. In fact, some of the original trailers were removed from the Fantastic YouTube channel, but luckily there are backups from IGN. The game, simply put, isn't an MMO as it's described on Steam. It's an extraction shooter, and a crappy one at that looks incredibly barren with few opponents, barely any zombies, and more or less a fake, uninteresting environment built from assets that were primarily not designed for this game. The features shown off in previous trailers that made the game stand out and attracted a crowd are all pretty much non-existent. Heck, the game doesn't even have basic stuff like vaulting. There's no proximity chat, no crafting, no detailed debris physics system and destructible environment, no hordes of zombies, cool finishing moves, muddy driving conditions, or really weather effects of any kind for that matter. Now, on launch day, The Day Before saw 38,000 concurrent players online, which, unsurprisingly, has dropped off a cliff. The average playtime, according to SteamDB, is under 2 hours, so hopefully most people should be able to request refunds without opening a support ticket on Steam. For anyone else, though, I would recommend opening a support ticket to get your refund. Apparently, Steam is allowing a lot of these people to get their refund. But it does make me wonder if Steam should be taking a stronger stance towards policing these types of projects, especially when there's blatantly false advertising on the Steam page itself. With Fantastic claiming that they are in the red and have to shut down their company, it does make me wonder whether or not they are actually getting away with millions of dollars in unrefundable game purchases, since the game retailed, at least in the US, for $39.99. Lots of players played past the 2-hour mark, which means that they would have to go through a special system to try and request a refund. Are they actually in the red, or are they just telling their other developers that so they don't have to pay them and can get out of there with an excuse? Given the years of lies and marketing material leading up to this game's launch, the fact that they advertised the game in Times Square, I wouldn't trust a word coming out of these devs' mouth. There's a good chance that they have a big chunk of cash and they're trying to get away with it. And if not, and they actually are in the red and this whole thing backfired on them, hopefully that'll send a message to other people trying the same type of high-profile scams. I get a feeling that there's going to be more in the future. Anyway, I hope this video shines a little bit of light on the development process and keeps you guys from buying the day before. And if you guys think I did a good job making this video, leave me a like, hit that sub button if you haven't already, and ding that notification bell to beat the YouTube algorithm with me. And up next, check out this video detailing the best free-to-play games that you can get right now. It's the holidays and maybe we don't have all the money to get all the games that we want, but frankly, there's a lot of great ones out there that won't cost you a dime. So check it out. I think you'll enjoy it. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. This is Level Cap signing off.